You feel it when you walk down the street. It's in the glass towers that mirror the mountains. It's on the logos of the stores you grew up with. It's the names chiseled onto hospital wings and university faculties. Vancouver is a city of immense, almost blinding beauty and wealth. But have you ever stopped to wonder who really built this place? We're not talking about politicians or city planners. We're talking about a small, incredibly influential group of prominent Jewish families. Dynasties whose stories of ambition, immigration, and foresight have shaped the very foundations of this city. They came from the shtetls of Eastern Europe, the ashes of post-war empires, and the bustling cities of Eastern Canada, carrying little more than resilience and imperial drive. They saw opportunity where others saw untamed wilderness and turned it into retail empires, real estate holdings, and financial powerhouses. While their exact fortunes are a closely guarded secret, making a definitive ranking almost impossible, their impact is undeniable. Today, we're not just counting dollars. We're investigating the immense wealth, power, and influence of the families who laid the groundwork for modern Vancouver. This is the story of the city's builders, its benefactors, and its shadow elite. This is our unofficial countdown of the 10 richest and most influential Jewish families in Vancouver. Number 10. The Franks family. Kicking off our list is a name that represents the very bedrock of Vancouver's early Jewish commerce, Franks. While they may not command the billion-dollar headlines of some others on our list, their story is one of pure endurance. Quietly persisted for over a century. It all started with Zebulon Franks, who landed in a nascent Vancouver in 1887. This was a time when the city was little more than a frontier town scrambling to its feet after the Great Fire. Like many Jewish pioneers, Franks was an entrepreneur in a land of raw potential. By 1896, he'd set up a hardware store, a fundamental business for a city literally building itself from the ground up. Think about that. This wasn't about luxury goods. It was about the literal nuts and bolts, the tools that would construct the homes and businesses of a future metropolis. The Franks family was providing the sinew for a growing city. And while other empires rose and fell, the Franks enterprise had remarkable staying power. The enterprise evolved, adapting to the city's changing needs. The original hardware store is now a relic of history, but the spirit of that venture survives. In a world of transient pop-ups, the names Y Franks Appliances and Y Franks Parts and Service still exist, direct commercial descendants of that 1896 store. This endurance is what earns them a place on our list. The Franks' wealth today isn't measured in sprawling global assets, but in the deep roots they planted in Vancouver's soil. They represent the foundational layer of Jewish entrepreneurship in the city. Their story is less a saga of explosive growth and more a quiet, powerful narrative of sustainability. They prove that true influence isn't always about being the biggest, but about creating something that lasts. Number 9. The Cohen family. For over a century, if you were hunting for a bargain in Western Canada, you were probably heading to a store with this family's name on it, Cohen. The story of the Cohens is the story of Army and Navy, a retail institution founded by a man who lived by the philosophy of buy cheap, sell cheap. That man was Sam Cohen. In 1919, at just 22 years old, he opened his first surplus store on Hastings Street. It was anything but glamorous. Sam's business was built on giving working-class families access to affordable goods. He sold military surplus, liquidated stock, anything he could get for a low price, he passed the savings on. This simple model resonated, and Army and Navy grew from a single shop into a beloved, quirky retail chain across Western Canada. Leadership was destined to stay in the family. After Sam's death in 1966, the business eventually passed to his granddaughter, Jackie Cohen. And she didn't just inherit the title, she earned it, working her way up from stock girl to cashier to buyer. She became the public face of the brand, a glamorous and formidable figure fiercely guarding her family's legacy. The family's story is also one of immense personal tragedy and resilience. Jackie's brother and sister both died young in separate tragic incidents, leaving her as the sole survivor to carry the torch. This history seems to have fueled a deep commitment to philanthropy. Through her Face the World Foundation, Jackie has raised millions for Vancouver's most vulnerable residents. In May 2020, after 101 years, the pandemic proved to be the final blow, and Army and Navy stores closed for good. But that wasn't the end of the Cohen family's wealth. Jackie has spoken about holding on to the family's significant real estate portfolio, which includes prized properties like the iconic Dominion building. The Cohen riches are no longer on department store shelves, but in the valuable land those stores once occupied. Number 8. The Wasque family. Next up is a family whose name is etched into Vancouver's skyline and its philanthropic heart, the Wasque family. The Wasque story is a classic. Brothers Ben and Maurice Wasque arrived from Russia in 1929 with next to nothing, fleeing hardship in Eastern Europe. Their first business venture? They were street peddlers with a horse and cart, collecting and fixing second-hand goods to resell for a small profit. It was a masterclass in resourcefulness. By 1932, they leveraged that know-how to open a small appliance store on Granville Street. From that single storefront grew Wasque's, a 13-outlet chain of furniture and appliance stores that dominated Western Canada for decades. But the Wasques didn't stop at retail. They were savvy real estate moguls, understanding that true wealth wasn't just in what you sell, but in the land you own. Their name became attached to apartment buildings and commercial developments, transforming them from shopkeepers into city shapers. What truly defines the Wasque legacy, though, is their colossal philanthropy. Having arrived with so little, the brothers dedicated their lives to giving back on a monumental scale. You can't walk through Vancouver's key institutions without seeing their name. The Wasque Auditorium at the Jewish Community Center, the Morris J. Wasque Center for Dialogue at Simon Fraser University, these are pillars of the community the Wasque family's generosity helped build. Though the department store chain is long gone, the family's wealth has long since transitioned into vast real estate and investment portfolios, ensuring their influence on Vancouver remains priceless. Number 7. The Senor family. Now we enter the world of modern real estate powerhouses with the Senor family. They might not be a household name like the retail dynasties, but their influence is felt in the very structure of our city. Led by patriarch Gary Senor, the family operates through their private firm, Seagull Properties, carving out a highly profitable niche in Vancouver's notoriously competitive real estate market. Unlike the public-facing empires of the Cohens or Wasques, the Senor family's wealth is built on the quiet behind-the-scenes work of transforming land into income-generating assets. Seagull Properties holds a diverse portfolio of office buildings, retail spaces, and residential complexes across Greater Vancouver. Their game is identifying undervalued properties and unlocking their potential through renovation or redevelopment. This requires not just immense capital, but a deep understanding of market trends and the intricate dance of municipal politics. The Senors are also known as significant but quiet philanthropists within the Jewish community. They've been steadfast supporters of schools, cultural initiatives, and community organizations, preferring their giving to be impactful rather than performative. Gary Senor's leadership on various boards community and provides a network of influence invaluable in the world of real estate. The Senor family is a prime example of how Vancouver's power operates in the 21st century. It's less about building a brand and more about building a portfolio. It's quiet, strategic, and deeply embedded in the city's most valuable commodity, land. Number 6. The Jeruslowski family. At number 6, we have a name that's synonymous with staggering financial acumen, Jeruslowski. While patriarch Stephen Jeruslowski is based in Montreal, the influence of his firm, Jeruslowski Fraser, is deeply felt in Vancouver, where it manages billions of dollars for BC's most significant institutions. Stephen Jeruslowski's story is one of European upheaval and Canadian opportunity. Born in Berlin in 1925, he fled Nazi Germany, eventually making his way to North America. He founded Jeruslowski Fraser in Montreal with a small amount of seed money. From that humble start, he built one of Canada's largest and most respected investment firms, which now oversees tens of billions in assets. The Jeruslowski philosophy is all about quality and long-term holds, a rejection of speculative trends. This steadfast approach has made the firm a trusted steward of capital for many of Vancouver's elite, and its Vancouver office is a key hub connecting BC's capital to global markets. Stephen Jeruslowski himself is a billionaire, known for his fierce advocacy for corporate governance. Beyond finance, the Jeruslowski Foundation is a titan of philanthropy, having donated hundreds of millions to education, arts, and public affairs across Canada. While headquartered in Montreal, the impact is felt nationwide, including at BC's universities. The Jeruslowski family's inclusion on this list highlights a different kind of power. It's not about building a city's physical structures, it's about managing its wealth, steering the financial currents that flow just beneath the surface. We're halfway through our countdown. These are stories of immigration, empire building, and legacies that have shaped the city we know today. If you're fascinated by the hidden power structures that define our world, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss who's in our top 5. Number 5. The Bellsberg family. Breaking into our top 5 is a family whose name was once one of the most feared and respected in North American finance, Bellsberg. The Bellsbergs, Patriarch Samuel and his brothers, weren't just builders, they were corporate raiders. Their story is a saga of ambition, controversy, and ultimately massive philanthropic contribution. Born in Calgary, Samuel Bellsberg moved to Vancouver in 1968 and, with his brothers, founded First City Financial. From their Vancouver base, they transformed it into a multi-billion-dollar behemoth. In the anything-goes financial climate of the 1980s, the Bellsbergs became masters of green mail, buying a huge stake in a company and threatening a hostile takeover, forcing management to buy back the shares at a premium. They launched audacious raids on major U.S. corporations, amassing a colossal fortune. But the high-flying era came to a dramatic end. The real estate slump of the early 90s led to the collapse of First City, wiping out a huge portion of their empire. Samuel, however, was resilient. He rebuilt his fortune through a new private investment firm, Gibralt Capital. The Bellsberg legacy, though, isn't just about corporate battles. It's also a story of transformative philanthropy. Samuel Bellsberg was a founding chairman of the Simon Wiesenthal Center in Los Angeles. In Vancouver, a major donation from the family was instrumental in establishing SFU's downtown campus, a move that revitalized the urban core. The Bellsbergs represent the raw power of high finance. Their wealth wasn't built brick by brick, it was forged in the fire of Wall Street boardrooms. And they channeled the fruits of that aggression into building institutions that will serve the community for generations. Number 4. The Seagull family. At number 4 is a family whose patriarch was the quintessential self-made man, Joe Seagull. His story, which ended with his passing in 2022 at age 97, is one of the most inspiring rags-to-riches tales in Canadian history. Born in Alberta in 1925, Joe dropped out of school at a young age to support his family after his father's death. After serving in World War II, he settled in Vancouver and entered the war surplus business. That early hustle evolved into the Fields department store chain, which he grew to over 100 locations. Then, in a stunning move, the Fields acquired a majority stake in the much larger Zellers chain, which eventually made Seagull a major shareholder in the iconic Hudson's Bay Company. After retail, Joe turned to real estate, founding Kingswood Capital. Through Kingswood, the Seagull family built a diversified empire spanning property development and manufacturing. Even in his late 90s, Joe was the company's bird dog, actively seeking out new deals. Today, the empire continues under his sons, Gary and Lorne. But for all his success, Joe Seagull's most enduring legacy is his philanthropy. The Seagull name is woven into Vancouver's most important institutions. SFU named its downtown business school the Seagull Graduate School of Business in his honor. And, perhaps most visibly, a monumental donation from Joe and his wife Rosalie helped build the Joseph and Rosalie Seagull and Family Health Center at VGH, an art-of-the-art facility for mental health treatment. In 2016, the Seagulls listed their mansion for $63 million, a symbol of their immense wealth. But the true measure of their fortune isn't one house, but the countless lives they enriched. Number 3. The Oppenheimer family. We now arrive at number 3 with the family that can be called the founding fathers of Jewish Vancouver and of Vancouver itself, the Oppenheimers. To talk about this city's early history without mentioning David Oppenheimer is to tell an incomplete story. He's widely known as the father of Vancouver. David Oppenheimer and his brothers arrived in 1885, just before the city was even incorporated. They were German Jewish immigrants who had already found success in the California gold rush and saw the same potential here. They started a wholesale grocery business, the Oppenheimer Group, and quickly diversified into real estate. As the city's second mayor, David's list of accomplishments was staggering. He secured the land for Stanley Park, brought in electric lights and a modern waterworks system, and personally lobbied the Canadian Pacific Railway to extend its line, guaranteeing the city's future as a port. He even donated his own land for public facilities. A bust of David Oppenheimer still stands at the entrance to Stanley Park, a permanent tribute. The Oppenheimers also built a community. David offered land for a synagogue and secured a Jewish burial area in the city's cemetery, laying the institutional cornerstones for the community. But here's the most amazing part. The grocery business they founded in the 1880s is still in operation. The Oppenheimer Group has evolved into a massive international distributor of fresh produce. It's a multi-billion-dollar global enterprise that still carries the family name. They are a living bridge between Vancouver's rugged past and its prosperous present. At number 2, we have a family whose wealth and influence are so vast they transcend any single city. They are arguably Canada's most famous Jewish dynasty, a name synonymous with old money and immense power, the Bronfmans. While their origins are in Montreal, their financial reach has long been deeply embedded in Vancouver. The saga begins with Samuel Bronfman, who built the Seagram Company into one of the largest spirits empires in the world, masterfully navigating prohibition to build the family's legendary fortune. His sons, Edgar and Charles, expanded the empire, diversifying into chemicals, real estate, and entertainment. Charles Bronfman, with an estimated net worth in the billions, is one of Canada's most preeminent philanthropists. It's his branch of the family that's most connected to our story. After the controversial sale of Seagram, the family wealth was redeployed into new investment vehicles. Today, Charles's son, Stephen, runs the family's private investment arm, Claridge Inc., which has a diverse global portfolio. So what's the Vancouver connection? It lies in the quiet, pervasive nature of their investments and philanthropy. For decades, Bronfman holding companies have been major players in Canadian real estate and resources, with significant, often unseen stakes in BC's economy. Their philanthropic influence is also profound. Through organizations like the Andrea and Charles Bronfman Philanthropies, they have championed Jewish life and Canadian heritage with a strategic approach that has a multiplier effect on community projects from coast to coast, including in Vancouver. The Bronfmans represent the pinnacle of dynastic old money in Canada. Their influence is the power of investment capital that can fund new industries and the weight of a family name that can convene powerful people.
And now for the number 1 spot. We crown a family whose name is synonymous with both the gritty industrial roots of Vancouver and the gleaming towers that define its modern skyline. A family whose journey from butcher shop to billionaire benefactors encapsulates the entire story of this city's growth. The number 1 most influential Jewish family in Vancouver is the Diamond family. The story starts with Jack Diamond. He arrived in Vancouver in 1927, an 18-year-old immigrant from a village in Poland. He started by buying a butcher shop and through sheer grit built it into Pacific Meats, the largest meatpacking firm in British Columbia. After selling it in the 1960s, Jack didn't retire, he pivoted. He formed West Coast Reduction, a rendering company that is still a highly successful family business, and more importantly, he and his sons moved into property development. This is where the second act of the Diamond Dynasty began. The family became major real estate players, but it was Gordon Diamond's son-in-law, Ian Gillespie, who took their influence to a whole new level. Gillespie is the founder of Westbank, one of the most prominent luxury real estate development companies in North America. Westbank is responsible for some of Vancouver's most iconic and daring buildings, like the Vancouver House Tower. These aren't just condos, they are city-defining landmarks. The wealth generated is astronomical, placing the family at the absolute apex of Vancouver's elite. Yet, the Diamond family's power is matched only by their philanthropy. The Diamond Foundation has a mission to improve life in their community. Jack Diamond himself was a legendary fundraiser. Today, the Diamond name is emblazoned on healthcare facilities across the city, most notably the Diamond Healthcare Center at VGH. They are massive donors to Jewish community causes, education, and the arts. The Diamond family is our number one because they represent the complete arc of influence. They have a direct lineage to the city's industrial past and are the primary drivers of its architectural future. They built their wealth from the ground up, multiplied it exponentially through high-stakes real estate, and at every stage have given back on a scale that has fundamentally shaped the city. From a single butcher shop to the peak of the skyline, the Diamond family's story is the story of Vancouver's ambition. From the foundational legacy of the Franks to the skyline-defining power of the Diamonds, the story of Vancouver's most prominent Jewish families really is the story of the city itself. These 10 families represent a powerful narrative of resilience and ambition, often fleeing hardship, and saw not an obstacle but an opportunity. They started with peddlers' carts and small shops, and through generations of relentless work, transformed those humble beginnings into empires of retail, finance, and real estate. Their influence is written across the city, on the hospitals we depend on, the universities where our leaders are educated, and the community centers that serve as our neighborhood's hearts. They have built the mundane and the magnificent, from the hardware stores that supply the city's first homes to the twisting glass towers that now attract global attention. While their true net worth remains a closely guarded secret, their impact is undeniable. They took the raw materials of a rugged frontier town and helped shape it into a world-class metropolis. Their story is a crucial chapter in the history of Vancouver, a testament to how a small group of determined families can build not just fortunes, but the very foundations of a city for everyone. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the dynasties that shaped Vancouver. The stories of wealth and power are all around us, hidden in plain sight. If you want to uncover more of these stories, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Which family story surprised you the most? Let us know. And as always, thanks for watching.